Hi, I'm Christa Jacobson, headmistress of the Budo, where we teach authentic ninjutsu and classical samurai bujutsu. And for those of you who don't know what that is, those are the ancient martial arts of the ninja and samurai. Again, I'm going on one of my nightly walks, and I'm going to videotape some thoughts that I have within the martial arts. And again, I'm not wearing any makeup. I didn't get all dolled up. I didn't do my hair. I know the majority of my videos, I do like to be presentable, like I've said before, on probably all of my nightly walk videos. But right now, with as tight of my schedule is for me to shoot videos and get my thoughts out there in the martial arts, taping during my night walks is the best time for me to be able to interact with my followers and my online community. So at least for a little while, a lot of these nightly walk videos will probably be the meat and potatoes of the YouTube channel for a little while, okay? Now, for some of you guys who have never seen any of my videos before, I am Christa Jacobson. I'm headmistress of the Budo. We teach, as I said to start the video, authentic ninjutsu and samurai bujutsu. So I am a Koryu instructor. For those of you who don't know what that is, Koryu are the ancient martial arts that predate 1868. So in Japan, the martial arts that are before 1868 is considered Koryu Bujutsu, the age of the samurai. And the martial arts that are after 1868 is considered Gendai Budo, or modern martial arts. Martial arts that predate 1868 would be like Taijutsu, Jujutsu, Sojutsu, Kinjutsu, Iaijutsu, Ninjutsu, sometimes called Shinobi Jutsu or Shinobi no Jutsu. Those are Koryu Bujutsu, right? Then you have the martial arts that are after 1868, and they typically have the word do attached to it, like karate do, aikido, kendo, judo, iaido. And the word do and the idea of do and the mentality of that and how it is connected to martial arts during that time became very popular. So even martial arts that were from other countries even use the same philosophical method to denote their training, like Taekwondo or Hapkido or even Jikundo. They use that word do, and that became prevalent in the martial arts that are after 1868. I am a Koryu instructor, so I teach the martial arts that are predate 1868. So for me, history and tradition and studying the history, studying the tradition, understanding the kata and the secrets of the kata and the essence and the kuden and the hiden and all that is very important to me. And I feel that studying history and tradition is something that is being lost in the modern day. And I think it's something that we need to stick to. And I think it would help more people when they're studying martial arts to study the history and tradition and culture, because maybe it would teach them some manners as well, because I think that's something that's being lost in modern society as well. So with that big introduction, tonight we're going to be talking about the way of the samurai, why I feel it's important to dedicate yourself to the way. Now, tonight we are not going to be talking about my hair on my face here. Tonight we're not going to be talking about MMA versus traditional. We've done that. And I actually need to make another video on that, because that video brought up questions that I would like to answer to some of my online community and followers and so forth. We're not going to be talking about, specifically Japanese martial arts. This could be Chinese martial arts. It could be American martial arts. What we're going to talk about today can fit regardless of the martial art that you train in, okay? But it's something that I feel that's very important, is studying the way. Now, before we get to that, I do want to take a crack at some of the haters that say the word Bushido was not ever used in the age of the samurai. Okay, first of all, I'm not going to get into a word battle, right, over what words were used when. The word Bushido means the way of the samurai, or the way of the warrior. And 100% during the age of the samurai understood the way. And they held themselves to a specific way because they were samurai. And I'm going to get into that in a minute, and you understand where I'm coming from. So even though maybe the word Bushido, right, may not have been used, there was 100% unequivocally the way was understood within the age of the samurai. Keep holding this like this, but you could see my the camera stick and all that kind of stuff when I do that. So I'll do it this way. So, like an example, when you read the Book of Five Rings by Miyamoto Musashi, there are so many times he says over and over again in that video, in that book, he says, the way of the warrior is this. The way of the warrior is this. When studying the way, do this. When studying the way of swordsmanship, do this. When studying the way of the warrior, do this. When studying the way, it's constant. The way, the way. I mean, he is being very specific. He's saying, when you're studying the way, you do this, right? Now, when you read the book of the Hagakure, written by Yamamoto Tsutomu, he also talks about the way of the samurai is this, the way of the samurai is found in death, right? I mean, very poetic. And there's so many times in that damn book when you read it, it says the way of the samurai is this, the way of the samurai is that. When studying the way of the samurai is this, when you're following the way of the samurai, it's that. I mean, just those two books alone, which are probably the most popular books ever written that people read about samurai in the English language, is the Hagakure and Book of Five Rings. I'm pretty damn sure anyone who studied any type of samurai martial arts would have read those books, or they've definitely heard of those books, and they have read quotes from those books. They understand that those books are 100% talking about the way of the samurai, the way of the warrior. So take another crack at all those individuals that say, oh, Bushido was never a thing by samurai. That's horse shit, okay? Maybe the word Bushido was not used at that time period, but the word Bushido means the way of the samurai, or the way of the warrior. And during the time of the samurai and the time of the ninja, there was the warrior class did hold themselves to a specific way. That is an absolute, okay? So, the way is true. I go on my nightly walks and now I see people driving by. I think there's a lot of people in Kansas City that watch my videos, because the other night I was walking this way, I was taping a video, and someone was like, hey, Christa, how you doing? And it was like, I don't even know who they are. So, I'm getting love in Kansas City by my YouTube channel, I guess. But anyway, tonight we're going to talk about the way and why I think studying the way, there are certain things that you have to do to reach a certain level of enlightenment. We are not going to be talking about this particular discussion is not meant at a basic pitch level, okay? So this video is going to be extremely advanced in its thinking and its process. So for you guys who are watching this video that don't truly get it and don't truly understand it, you might not get this video. But for those of you guys who truly train and follow the way, you're going to get it, okay? I think it's very important to study the way, all phases, mentally, physically, and emotionally, because from a physical perspective in the martial arts, it is absolutely needed that you do that, because if you don't, you're going to get your fucking ass handed to you when you have to protect yourself on the streets. And that's really the main part of this conversation, why you need to study the way. Because if you don't dedicate yourself to the way, if you choose to dedicate yourself to ego rather than the way, you're going to get your fucking ass whooped. Now, the way does not denote a specific type of martial arts. Now, I'm going to use Mr. Miyagi as an example here, okay? Anyone who's in my age group has watched The Karate Kid. The good one, the original one. And Mr. Miyagi looks at Daniel-san and he says, if you walk, and I'm paraphrasing here, I don't know exactly how he said it, but he basically said, if you walk on the right side, you're okay. You walk on the left side, you're okay. If you walk in the middle, you get squished just like a grape. And he goes, do you understand? And Daniel-san is like, oh yeah, I get it. And you could just look in his face, Daniel, what the fuck he's talking about. What he's saying is, if you train in martial arts, right? If you don't train in martial arts, you're probably going to be okay. Because if you don't train in martial arts, the right side of the road, then your natural instincts are going to kick in and you'll at least have a fight or flight move. Get the fuck out. House is on fire, run out, right? Because you have that natural thing. When you start training in martial arts, you start training those natural instincts to react differently in an intense situation. You start controlling the fight or flight mentality. That fight or flight mentality doesn't really exist as much when you are a true practitioner of the martial arts, because you are studying to control, you're training your body and your mind and your spirit to control yourself in those intense, violent situations. You don't just check out, oh shit's house on fire, and I just run the fuck out, right? It doesn't happen. No, it doesn't happen. So if you don't study martial arts, okay, you have your fight or flight, you be okay. If you do study martial arts, the left side, right, then you're okay. But if you walk in the middle, just like a grape, meaning if you half-ass your fucking training, you don't have your instincts anymore, and you don't have the fucking skills either, and you're gonna fucking die. That's what that lesson means. And I think a lot of times people don't truly understand that. So they're like, well, today I'm going to do Kaja Kembo, and tomorrow I'm going to do Kempo, and, I'm going to do some Jiu-Jitsu ground fighting stuff, and, oh yeah, there's like a rowdy self-defense seminar over at blah, 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 and Saturday I'm going to fucking do that, and I'm going to do this like Korean martial art thing over here, and I'm going to do that Chinese martial art thing over there, I'm going to do that Japanese martial art thing on the back 40, and I'm going to do blah, blah, blah. It's like, what the fuck? You know what I mean? It's like the ego, that right there just screams ego. Because let me give all of you fucking people who are not masters of the martial arts a secret, okay? The martial arts teaches you to be effective and efficient in a pragmatic, intense situation. All martial arts, if they're taught correctly, okay? And I'm not going to make videos about what martial arts I think are bullshit, okay? Because I think down the line, there are MMA schools who are good, there are MMA schools that are bad. There are kickboxing schools that are good, there are kickboxing schools that are bad. There are traditional martial arts schools that are good. There are traditional martial arts schools that are bad. No matter what martial arts you're studying, that is the case. There are ninjutsu organizations that are good. There are ninjutsu organizations that are shit. Just the same. I'm sure there are Brazilian jiu-jitsu schools that are good. And there are Brazilian jiu-jitsu schools that are shit. Right? So, my point is, we're not going to get wrapped up into what martial arts I feel is bullshit or not bullshit, okay? We're going to look at this particular lesson tonight as all martial arts are martial arts. And whatever martial arts you're doing, let's just go with it's good, right? Because what you do is irrelevant for tonight's lesson. If you are constantly training your body to do 10 or 15 different fucking things, okay, you are fucking up the neurological response and the kinetic movements of that training. I'm going to use the Budo as a specific example. We have what's called Kihon Waza. And Kihon Waza are the basic fundamental movements within our traditions. We have 7 different traditions, but there's a basic principle to those 7 traditions, and we study those as our fundamental basics to be able to study and move, right? So even though there are 7 different warrior traditions or Ryuha, right? They are fundamentally different in philosophy, but they are absolutely the same when it comes to the basic fundamental movement. And that's called Kihon Waza. Now, most Koryu martial arts teach more than one, but they make sure that in that organization, the basics are still the basics. That way you can study different ones, different ways, different methods. We're going to use the word method. You could study different methods of warfare, but the way stays the same. It's with the same teacher, the same method, the same methodology, the same principles, and the same organization with the same mindset. So even though, let's take the Budo with myself, we're studying Togakure Ryu, Koto Ryu, Gyoko Ryu, Muso Jikiden, Eishin Ryu, Iai Jutsu, Chinjin Ryu Jujutsu, Kokoro Kempo, Tomoro Shinobi Jutsu. Even though we have different traditions, they're all in the age of the samurai. They're all from the same time period. in the same warring period. And fundamentally, we have a Kihon Waza that brings them together so we move our bodies the same way, even though they're all different and they all have their own specific traits, but we have a connection that brings them together, and that's the way we move. We call it taijutsu. Now, if you was to study from other martial organizations, like an example, like the Bujinkan, they do the same thing. They have, I believe they have 9 different ryuha, but they move their bodies in a way to connect and push and pull and take things from different ryuha to move in a certain way. They do different traditions, different things, but in a way, there are many organizations that offer that. But because you're in the same organization, and that organization has their way and their methodology, whether it's one tradition or whether it's 21 traditions, is irrelevant because it's still that particular organization's method, okay? So you can't sit there and say, don't think that when I say you must follow the way, we're talking about one martial art. That is not absolutely true. We're talking about following the way of the warrior means the way. That a method that you are going to use in an effectively in an intense and violent situation. Now, if you're like Bob, and Bob wants to be like, I'm going to do Kempo over here, and I'm going to do Krav Maga over there, and I'm going to do Gracie Jiu-Jitsu over here, and I'm going to do blah, blah, blah. Well, now you're with 5 different teachers, 5 different arts. They're not connected in any way at all. There is no way between all of them. You're totally getting 5 different methodologies, 5 different teachers, 5 different principles, all this different stuff. And then someone puts a fucking knife on your throat and you do what? I'm just gonna fucking move. Bullshit. Quit kidding yourself. It's not how it works. So the reason it's important that you guys study whatever it is that you study, whether it's Kung Fu or Wing Chun or Jeet Kune Do or Xuan Fa or Ninjutsu or Bujutsu or whatever, Karate Do, Aikido, Kendo, Judo, or whatever. It doesn't matter what you're doing. Just whatever you do, do it. Because I'm going to give you guys the raw reality here. Your life depends on your training. That is an absolute fact. Your life depends on your training. Because unless you're doing sport martial arts, and again, I don't teach sport martial arts. I don't do MMA and kickboxing and boxing. I'm not taking anything away from those. This isn't a hate video towards sport martial arts. But unless you're doing sport martial arts, then your training, your life does depend on your training. Because if you ever had to do what you're truly training in, you would be protecting yourself and defending your life with someone trying to fucking rob you and rape you. Do you know what I mean? And I think sometimes people don't understand that mindset. Like, when you're studying MMA, you get to test your skills in the ring, right? So you learn a lot of maneuvers that fit to certain rules and all that kind of stuff. And although I do have my beef with MMA and sport martial arts, one thing I would give MMA and sport martial arts credit is they do full contact sparring and they test everything they fucking do. And I think that's awesome. One knock that I get as a Koryu teacher, and this is one, I mean, I get this shit damn near every day. I am a Koryu teacher. I teach the ancient ways of the ninja and samurai, but I make my students spar. I make my students do full contact sparring. And all these Koryu students are like, our Koryu teachers and Koryu students, like, oh, that's not right. That's not right. Fuck that shit. I want my students to know how to protect themselves and to control themselves in a heated situation. So you goddamn right, I make my students spar. No, I don't think sparring is reflective of a real street fight. And that's where I think that there's a separation, and there's a distinct separation between sport martial arts and martial arts of self-defense. Because it doesn't matter. You could put the greatest MMA fighter in front of me. If I have a knife, and the only thing they can do are the techniques that is allowed in a UFC ring, I'm gonna win 100% of the time. What the fuck are they going to do? Do a double leg shoot takedown? Will I stab them in the back of the neck? It's just not going to happen. Now, I don't think that anyone who studies mixed martial arts is stupid enough. If they're training in martial arts, period, I don't think they're stupid enough to do a technique that they don't feel is effective towards that particular attack. So again, I don't want you guys to sit there and think that I'm saying MMA fighters are stupid. I'm not saying that. What I'm trying to make my point is that there is a distinct difference between people who study sport martial arts, and there's a methodology to that, and there's a distinct difference between people who study martial arts for self-defense, or Goshinjutsu, the ancient martial arts where it was battlefield tested, and the way that your training is going to be for life or death. There is a definitive way of standing, there's a definitive way of moving, and I definitely want to make that video because I think a lot of people could really benefit from that. So, those differences are those differences. In an MMA ring, all MMA and boxing and kickboxing, they have weight classes. Men fight men, women fight women, right? And then on top of that, we have, let me do that again. So, and then on top of that, we have, you know, they've got the weight classes. So, you know, middleweight is this and heavyweight is this and all that kind of stuff. And all that's well and good. And I think that's great. But I think that when you just stick it to just, if you're only training to fight someone in your own weight class with a certain set of rules, in a real street fight, that's not what's going to happen. In a real street fight, and I've said this 1,000 times, and I'm going to say it 1,000 more, guys, okay? In a real street fight, the rabbit doesn't attack the lion. You know what I'm saying? The predator will always attack the prey. So if you get your ass jumped on the street, right? And it doesn't matter how hardcore y'all look. You could shave your head, grow the goatee, get all the fucking tattoos and all that shit. You can make yourself look all hard all you want, right? It's all well and good. Do what you got to do, right? Express yourself. But that isn't going to change reality, okay? And this is going to be that ending part of the video that probably going to piss everyone off. I tend to be pissing people off lately with my videos. But the predator will always attack prey. And if you are being attacked, that person feels they have the advantage. And they do have the advantage. They are going to be bigger. Predators are always bigger than their prey. So they're going to be bigger, they're going to be stronger. If they are not bigger and stronger, I promise you they will have a tactical advantage. Meaning, they will have a knife, a stick, a firearm, edged weapon, whatever. They have a tactical advantage. If they are not bigger, and if they don't have a tactical advantage, then they have an advantage in terrain, they have an advantage in element, or they have an advantage in numbers. There are more than one of them. Because that's how predators work. So when you get your ass fucking jumped on the street, you are not going to be competing in that intense situation as you would in an MMA ring. Because in an MMA ring, you are going to go up against someone with rules, and they are going to be in the same weight class. And for those of you guys who don't think weight class matters, that is horseshit. That's why there's a reason why lightweights don't go toe-to-toe with heavyweights, right? And there is a difference. But in self-defense, the predator will always go after the prey. So you're always going to be smaller. So you have to learn how to defend yourself against larger opponents, which is a definitive difference in self-defense. And that's why a lot of the techniques are different, because they're based on you being smaller against a bigger opponent. So the certain strikes to certain areas and so forth is, you know, generally taught and ingrained within the training. But when you are studying, if you're studying a sport, it doesn't really matter what you're studying as long as everything that you do fits within a certain set of rules, right? So that's why it's okay when we're talking about the way. That's why it's okay for MMA fighters to study with 5 different people, or sport martial artists to study with 5 different people, because when they study with 5 different people, what ends up happening is everything that they do still fits within those set of rules. So in that regard, it's okay because it still fits within, quote unquote, their way. Follow me? Because they all fit within those rules. When you are studying and you're practicing martial arts that have no rules, right, then you want to make sure that you do not duplicate certain shit. Like when you look at MMA fighters, I study with 3 different people. I'm going to promise you that one of them is a boxing coach. One of them is probably a grappling coach. One of them is someone that helps them in the clinch. One of them is probably a strength and conditioning coach. They're not going to 2 different grappling coaches. They're not going to 2 different striking coaches. Do you catch what I'm saying? That's not normal, okay? So when you're studying with in traditional Bujutsu, or traditional Koryu Bujutsu, or Budo, Gendai Budo, you want to make sure that you dedicate yourself to the way. That way, when shit hits the fucking fan, you are the one that is smaller. You are the one that's, they have a tactical advantage. They have multiple people coming after you. They have the advantage in terrain. It's a surprise attack. You don't think, oh shit, should I do Krav Maga or should I do Kempo? Oh shit, maybe I should just whip out a Gracie Jiu-Jitsu takedown and see if I can get a fucking leg lock against this dude with a fucking knife. Like, it's just fucking... The people that say, oh, I want to study traditional martial arts with sensei so-and-so and traditional martial arts with sensei so-and-so, I don't think they realize how fucking stupid that is, because they're actually taking away their ability to be effective in a situation that it's going to happen in seconds. When you spar, right, you're grappling, you're dancing around and all this kind of shit. We're way out here and you punch and you kick and all this kind of shit, right? That's all well and good. But in a real life self-defense situation, arm's length is the absolute furthest away that you're going to be with someone. Absolute fact. That shit's going to happen so fast, so intense, so quick, that there's no fucking way possible that you're going to be able to just jump around, do the dance for 3 fucking minutes and work on, you know, jab, cross, roundhouse, step back, jab, jab, step back, punch, punch, step back. That ain't shit ain't going to happen. They're going to fucking knife you. You know what I mean? And you have to be able to prepare yourself for that in an intense situation. And if you can't do it, you're just going to fucking die. Now, when I talked about earlier, so before I move on, let me just finish this thought. So whatever you guys do, the way of the samurai, the way of the warrior, whatever martial arts you guys are doing, do it. This ain't a video where I'm like, hey guys, I'm the greatest thing since sliced fucking bread, and you guys need to study with me because everybody else is shit. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, whatever you're doing, do it. Because if you walk on the right side, you're okay. If you go on the left side, you're all going to be okay. But if you walk in the middle, just like a fucking grape. Now let me talk to you guys about some bullshit martial art teachers. Now I'm not going to talk about organizations. I'm not going to talk about martial arts. I do believe that all martial arts have their purpose, and all martial arts have their positives and negatives. So this isn't a type of martial arts. But let me tell you about the bullshit teachers out there, and they're fucking loaded. The reason I make all these videos now, I never made these kind of videos before, but I started the Budo Rukai back in 2004, and I just got so fucking tired of all the bullshit in the martial art community. And one thing I can't stand is these first degree masters. And I have not made that video yet. I have not made first degree masters, and I haven't made instructor lesson number 2 yet. Once I put those 2 out, I'll really piss the world off. I know I will. But, you know, fuck it. It is what it is. It's the truth. If they can't handle the truth, then they need to go, you know, on somebody else's channel and feed them a bunch of bullshit. But the one thing that is absolute shit, when you walk into a martial arts school and everyone has a fucking black belt on, you know, and everyone can be a black belt, they obviously don't have a very high level of, they don't have a high expectation of skill set. Why? Why is it that everyone has to be a black belt? I'm not trying to be mean, I'm being honest. Not everyone's going to be a fucking doctor. Not everyone's going to be a fucking lawyer. Not everyone's going to be a fucking Navy SEAL, right? Not everyone's going to be whatever. Why? Because it's fucking hard. More people go to college. I said this before. I say it again. I'm going to keep hitting the same points because I believe strong in it, you know? More people go to college than actually get degrees. Why? Because it's fucking difficult to get a degree. The people that get degrees in college, the majority of them don't get a master's degree. And if they get a master's, the majority of the people that get masters don't get a PhD. It's absolute truth. You know, people go, oh, I want to go to law school, but they're not a lawyer. It's fucking hard. It's difficult. And that's why. Not everyone is going to be able to do it. So my point here is, if not everyone is going to be able to do it, why does everyone have to wear a goddamn black belt? Why you got to coddle everyone's ass, tap them on the little ass and be like, it's okay. And then, you know, the mom comes in, the kid comes in, and 8-year-old gets a black belt at the same time. The mom gets a black belt and all this kind of stuff. When you have a teacher that can dumb down martial art training, right, and say, well, I'm going to dumb it down because I think that my students want this. That's a bad fucking teacher. That's a bullshit teacher. And I'm going to tell you why. Because I'm quite positive that that teacher, whoever they are, they truly know that if the student is not an MMA fighter, they know that their teachings and that training has to prepare them for a real life self-defense. They have to make sure that that individual can effectively protect themselves in a pragmatic attack that's unfixed, it ain't kata, with someone trying to grab them and throw them in the back of a fucking car and rape them. Or someone's gonna grab them and then fucking knife them and shank their fucking ass for $5 in their wallet. Or put a gun on the back of their fucking head. Yeah, that is the fucking facts. But these teachers, they know the statistics. I guarantee you they know the statistics. They fucking know that if you really had to do anything you're training in, your life fucking depends on it. But then they're gonna dumb it down because it's best for their students. No, it's best for their fucking pocketbook. So they're gonna sell you a bunch of bullshit, and they're gonna make it easy, and they're gonna give you a black belt, and you're gonna think you're great, and you're gonna think they're great because they listen to your problems, and they're there for you. They pat you on your ass. You have deep philosophical thoughts while you pay them a monthly fee. Or if you're not paying them, I can guarantee you, you're helping them teach while they make money. So in a way, you are making them money because you're helping them teach, and they're making money doing nothing, which is even better. Because then if you could get like 4 or 5 people, that's what these bullshit fucking people do. These bullshit instructors. Oh yeah, let's have deep thought. Let's think about it. You know, you don't need to pay me. It's okay. I know you're hurting. Why don't you go ahead and help me teach? And so needs to get the next belt. Help me teach, and so needs to, it's good. They need to boost their morale. It's okay. It's okay. Bullshit. If you have to use it, it's going to be for life or death. That is absolute. If you have to do your training for real, it is for real. It is not for points. It is not for tap outs. It's someone putting a fucking knife on you, wanting your shit. And if you cannot train your mind and body and spirit to be effective in that situation, then you need to change your fucking training. So let me say it one more time. If you are not training your body, your mind, your body, and your spirit to be effective in a pragmatic, intense, violent situation that's going to happen within a split second, then you need to change your fucking training. Now, some people study martial arts for many reasons. Some people just want to study martial arts because, you know, they want good fitness. Oh, I like going there because it gets me in shape. Well, and that's the case. If you're studying martial arts because you're doing it from a fitness perspective, well, then you do what you got to do. If you're studying martial arts because you're an MMA and you're a mixed martial artist and you want to compete and be a champion, I give all the MMA people all the respect they deserve, that they train hard. You do what you got to do. But if you're training in martial arts because you want to learn how to protect yourself in a true, intense, violent situation, then you need to train with someone that can help you in that situation. Training with someone because he's a good guy, you know, is just fucking stupid. It's like, think about this. If you know, you're like, man, I really want to train with that organization because they're really good. But God, I got to train with this guy because he's just a good guy. Well, what the fuck? Is that what your life is worth? I'm being honest, is that what your life is worth? Or you just seriously just gonna be like, well, I'm gonna half-ass my training because he's a good guy? Come on. You're fucking stupid. So when we talk about dedicating yourself to the way, it doesn't matter what martial arts you're training in. You need to dedicate yourself to the school that best fits you. The school that you know, unequivocally 100% that you can learn from this particular school, organization, teacher, whatever, and they are going to give you the skills to be able to protect yourself in that situation. That's where you should be training. The problem is 90% of martial art instructors out there are bullshit. They're selling you shit and they try to change reality. And what I mean by that is they try to be like, well, we're going to do this because, you know, everyone can do it, and, you know, the little kids can do it, and the moms can do it, and, you know, the older students can do it. So we're going to do this kind of training. It's going to be fun. However, I do want to say is the majority of martial art people out there are absolutely spitting bullshit. Okay? And what they do is they try to change reality to fit their training. And you should never change reality to fit your training. Your training should fit reality. Yeah, I'm gonna say that again. Do not change reality to fit your training. Your training should fit reality. The reality is, if someone jumps your fucking ass, you're gonna get a knife in your throat, you're gonna get a gun in your face, you got multiple fucking attackers coming after you all at fucking once, and you either can or you can't. And there's no other fucking way around that. And it doesn't matter how fucking nice your martial art teacher is and all this fucking crap. You know what I mean? It's your ass that's on the line. That is an absolute truth. So you decide. You decide who you train with. And that is a very serious decision, because your life, your ass is what's on the line. So you need to think about that shit. Too many times you get like when I said they changed reality. Well, we're going to do this. Oh, we're going to do a takedown to a lock, and we're going to do this and this, knowing that the individual that's doing that would never do that. They put the art above the individual. The individual should be better than the art. The teacher should be training the individual to be good in reality. What can this individual do to defend against a knife, a gun, edged weapons, firearms, sticks, multiple attackers? That's what they should be doing. They should be learning whatever tradition they're doing. And again, I'm not going to get into that shit. They should, whatever martial art tradition it is, do your tradition. If you do traditional Japanese or Chinese or whatever, right? That is what it is. But when you learn the physical aspect of the martial arts, whatever you train in, you are going to do it. And if you train in 5 different things, you are not going to be as efficient against an attack when you need to. 1 + 1 is 2. Don't ever think something different. Too many people put variables on shit. If I stab you with a fucking knife, that is the problem. You either do something or you don't. But if you're like, oh shit, do I do Kempo? Oh shit, do I do Krav Maga? Oh shit, I should do Taekwondo. You know, oh shit, I should do some sort of BJJ. It isn't. The martial arts are relevant. I should do Ninjutsu. Here, I'll put my martial art in there just because I'm not trying to take a shot at anybody. I should do Ninjutsu. It is the art itself is the art. But you have to dedicate, your body has to be in tune with what you're doing so that it becomes a weapon. The idea of mushin, right? Where no matter what happens, you move. You do it, and when you do it with everything that you have. You don't think. You have this, your body has a kinetic movement, a neurological response that just happens against this pragmatic attack that you don't even know that's coming. But you cannot do that if you're doing 25 different fucking martial arts with 5 different teachers. All that is ego. And again, I can make the video about the first degree masters later, but that shit's just fucking ego. Don't fall into that bullshit. You are worth more than that. Your training is worth more than that. So this video has been long as shit. So I'm gonna close it down now. These night walks get longer and longer. I need to start curbing that shit to about 20 minutes, because man, let me tell you, mama can get going, I'll tell you that right now, huh? So for those of you guys who are interested in ancient Japanese martial arts, Koryu Bujutsu, the ancient martial arts of the ninja and samurai, and you want to learn self-protection and self-defense, check out my website at www.budoninjutsu.com. There you can see a list of our schools. If you live next to one of our schools, give them a call. Also, if you don't live next to one of our schools and you want to train with us, we do offer an online ninjutsu program. Don't listen to the bullshit that people say about online training. That's horseshit too. I'm not going to get into solo training today because it's been long enough, but I want to say this, okay? Dog's barking. I'm going to flip it around real quick because I don't want to get all dogs barking. I want to say this about solo training because everyone wants to give their little bullshit speech about that. Everybody does more by themselves when they're training for something than they do in the actual situation. I can promise you, and I'm not trying to be inappropriate, but everyone practices by themselves before they have to actually do the moment physically. I'm not trying to be inappropriate, but I can goddamn promise you that all the NBA players, all the NBA basketball players, and you know, they spent more hours by themselves shooting baskets out at midnight on the fucking playground than they spent on the floor 5-on-5 game basketball. Every athlete does more hours in the gym by themselves training than they do competing. I'm not taking away the physical side of martial arts. Sparring and all those kind of things and tactile training and doing the techniques within the person, absolutely necessary. Anyone who knows me and follows my channel knows I'm an advocate for full contact sparring. You got to train with someone, blah, blah, blah. Not getting away from that. But do not think that training by yourself or training in some form of online training is a bad thing. It's absolutely not true. Harvard offers online classes. Yale offers online classes, and they are legitimate universities that teach education. Learning material through the online means is not a bad thing. If you don't train with the material that you learn, that's a bad thing. You can learn bullshit and not train and be bullshit, or you can learn from Harvard and not train and be bullshit. But if you learn from Harvard and they give you a training curriculum and they say this is what you need to do, this is how you need to do it, and you train and you learn and you study, you can get a degree from Harvard, right? Or whatever. So don't buy into the bullshit with the whole online training is not as good. Training online with someone who gives a shit, I give a shit, right? Training with someone online that gives a shit and they're trying to help you get better is way better than training in person in a dojo with a bullshit martial art teacher that's not training you, that don't give a flying fuck. All they want is your money, and they give you a fucking nice little belt and tell you to go about your business, or maybe you should come on in and help them teach a little bit. That way, you know, you don't have to pay so much, but you're making him money because he doesn't have to work, he or she don't have to, you know, work as hard, and they can make more money because you're pulling the hours, right? Meanwhile, you're getting, you know, short into the stick. That kind of shit happens a lot. So, anyway, what else can I say? Yeah, so there's my little rant about solo training. Thought I'd throw that at the end here. So, anyway, if you guys are interested in authentic ninjutsu and classical samurai bujutsu, please check out our website at www.budoninjutsu.com and click in the comment section if you guys have any questions. And, yeah, until next time.